Hey guys, this is Anime Ball Z here, and today we are going to be doing the first part to what if Goku got stronger from pain. Please like the video if you haven't already and subscribe. It's totally free and you can unsubscribe whenever you want. There's nothing much else I'd like to say in the intro, so without further ado, let's get into the video.
Slick talker since a jet. Winter time, all the time, ooh, yeah. Look at the way that I move, swag, disrespectful and I'm rude, okay. I had cocaine in the school.
In this what if Goku has the ability to grow from any and every form of damage, physical, mental, emotional, you name it. During his training with Grandpa Gohan, he finds that he makes a lot of progress. When he is trained to the limit and advances his physical stamina and strength, not just the training makes him grow, but the damage to his body as well. Whenever he does something that hurts a lot, he actually feels himself getting slightly stronger right after. Whenever he has a really hard session and feels exhausted, he feels like a new person after he recovers. By the time of Grandpa Gohan's death, his power level is already at 100 due to this. Just from the sheer volume of training, he is an absolute phenom. Grandpa Gohan is eager to train him because of this, to get him to calm the storm and use it as a weapon, not to let it control him instead. This only makes his death that much more gruesome. Sadly, Goku turns into an Uzaru when he looks at the moon and turns into a raging beast. Grandpa Gohan can do nothing to resist, and Goku is left to mourn him once he is gone. This trauma, this sense of loss, the endless nights of sorrow and tears, every teardrop fuels him. In weeks he doesn't really know it, but he's growing as if he's been left in the center of an intense battlefield, fighting day in and day out. His power level grows to a whopping 300 by this point. It's since he has lost the only person he knows at this point pretty much. It's a massive hit to his mental. It's by far the most traumatizing thing that's happened to him in his entire life. The numerous days spent alone and lonely only add to his strength as well. To try and take out this sadness and pain, he trains hard. Finding a tree to do some practice on, he throws a light jab but finds that he sends the tree flying off, toppling another from sending it flying. It feels weird to have this much power from out of nowhere. He has no clue because he's gotten so strong, but he certainly isn't complaining. By the time Bulma comes around searching for her Dragon Balls, it just isn't an issue. Goku is so strong that whoever stands in their way he can take down soundly. He is fearless as he does so, which does make his power pretty much plateau. However, it's so high already that there really isn't an issue. Kami, the god of Earth, is stood at the edge of the lookout as he just takes in everything that's happening below. One person that has ended up in his view quite a lot recently is Goku. He doesn't quite understand how the boy is so strong, but not only that, how has he grown so strong so fast? It was mainly after Grandpa Gohan's death. Now he can sense his ki faintly all the way up from the lookout if he tries hard enough. Even Mr. Popo is aware of what's going on. The good thing is, the boy is totally pure of heart, so there isn't much to fear. To be honest, it's probably better that they have such a strong kid to rely on for the Earth's protection. Next, Master Roshi is up to train Goku. This training gives him great insight, and the discipline of his training regime provides some form of mental damage. This is due to him constantly doing things that he doesn't enjoy or want to do. This only makes him stronger. Along with his intense solo training, the power he gains is somewhat large. He grows to a power level of about 450 from the constant training and totally new lifestyle. This is nowhere near as significant as the death of his adopted grandfather Gohan, so the increase in power isn't as much. Also, Master Roshi can't give him any form of training that physically strains him a lot besides just his solo training. All the other forms of training like fighting technique and battle intelligence, it doesn't really affect his power. Still, it means that no foe can take him down. In the 21st Tenkaichi Budokai, nobody proves to be a threat, not even Jackie Chun when he uses his full power. Goku destroys all the fighters and even leaves Jackie Chun in quite a bad state from accidentally using too much strength. Following this point, he faces the Red Ribbon Army, and since he is so powerful here, they can't do much to tame him. Knowing the evils that are conducted by this organization, he can let himself go a little more. Mercenary Tao and the Samurai Quadruplets stand no chance against him. He takes down all the fighters and the arc ends rather seamlessly. It's only Dr. Gero that is witty enough to slip through the cracks and escape before he is killed as well. Fortune teller Baba's ghoulish gladiators stand even less of a chance against Goku now. However, when he sees Grandpa Gohan, he's elated. The mental pain that he gets from thinking back to Grandpa Gohan's death is much less now that it happened a while ago. Seeing Grandpa Gohan again made it much easier for him to look back to the days when he was alive and not mourn him in the process. What follows is 3 whole years of training. Goku grows from the ordinary Saiyan Zenkais, but also from the damage and pain of training extremely hard. He finds that if he hits himself with things like ki blasts and takes full power Kamehameha waves, he grows more. This means that his training is a lot more bloody and grueling than one would expect. His power level then reaches 850 as a result. He's been training for a long time following this procedure, and this just facilitates his growth. Kami can see that he truly has a powerhouse as the Earth's protector. He really should be the Kami at this point. There are still things he could teach him, but he has eclipsed his power by a large margin. It's actually quite scary to see how strong he is and how fast he's reached this point. Goku in the 22nd Tenkaichi Budokai swiftly makes his way to the final and ends up against Tien. The gap between him and Tien is simply too large. Tien can't even leave a dent on him, and Goku can just use his far superior strength and speed to send him flying off the ring. Goku is crowned the strongest martial artist in the world back to back, establishing quite the identity with the spectators. After the tournament, Krillin is still killed by Tambourine. How this affects Goku compared to the death of Grandpa Gohan is far different though. Arriving by his corpse, his power starts to explode. The only thing in his mind is him reiterating to himself that this is his fault. He can't keep it contained. Loss, anger, sorrow. It feels different to see his dead body here and to know that his death was practically his own fault. Why did he have to forget his things? Why did he have to be so clumsy? Look at what has happened now. These thoughts continue to race through his mind like a swarm of bees trapped in a small jar. Tears run down his cheeks and he shouts at the very top of his lungs, letting absolutely everything go. His power level grows and reaches past 1,000, and this mental pain only continues to add to his strength. His crying continues, and the feeling of power that grows within him almost makes him cry more. It's a warm feeling that he has attributed to growing strength, but it just constantly reminds him of the death of his friend, his death at his own hands. His power carries on growing and plateaus at about 1,200. It's not like the pain is gone though, it's slowly but surely climbing, but he has something else on his mind now. He wants to find whoever did this and pulverize them. Hopping straight on his flying Nimbus, he often soon finds his way to Tambourine. Flying beside him, he leaps straight off his Nimbus and drives down his leg into his back, launching him straight down from the skies. It shoots him down like an arrow. Goku cannot control this new strength that he's acquired. Tambourine goes crashing into the ground, and the collision releases a cloud of dust as trees topple and dirt is ejected out from the floor. Goku dives down and is saved by his Nimbus before he hits the ground as well, then sees the unmoving Tambourine ahead of him. The job is done. Shortly after, he meets Yajirobe and they still have a little spar. Unlike before, this spar is not equal at all. Goku finds it very easy to beat the swordsman, since he is just way stronger at this point. King Piccolo also sent off Symbol, but the duo of Yajirobe and Goku destroy him before anything can happen. King Piccolo then flies off to confront Goku directly, tired of his shenanigans. He tries his best to intimidate the boy with his greater stature and size, but Goku stands firmly and confidently. Judging from the ki he can sense from this being, he shouldn't be much of an issue. He can also see that this man is terribly aged. He isn't human, of course, but you can still see the wrinkles on his skin, and from his hoarse voice, it's clear that he's been around for a very long time. King Piccolo speeds off toward him, but he leaps up and kicks him in the face, sending him flipping and flying away. Goku lands again and swivels around his arms elegantly before entering his stance yet again. King Piccolo wants to just rush back in and get his get back, but he stumbles to the floor upon raising up too quickly. That strike really took him out and rocked him well. Looking down, he can also see blood dripping from his nose and a knocked out tooth. What sort of power does this kid possess? He is left flustered by Goku's subsequent advance, and Goku drives up his fist, hurling him away. The second attack leaves King Piccolo unable to respond. He just lies on the ground minutes from death. Goku waits for a few seconds, but then retreats once he sees that he most likely won't be getting up. He hasn't even done as much as twitch in the time he's taken to watch him, and so it seems unlikely that anything will happen. As he looks over, the fallen Namekian, Master Roshi with Yamcha and Tien arrive. They've acquired the Dragon Balls, and they're going to wish for Krillin to come back. Goku is stopped just before the wish is completed, and since King Piccolo doesn't seem to be getting up, he isn't alerted to his presence. The wish is made and Krillin is revived. They all rejoice upon feeling his ki once again, and his body is reanimated back at the tournament. He swiftly arrives at the group and they all celebrate once they see that he is back with them. Seconds later though, the Dragon Balls deactivate. They assume it's due to the wish being made, but no, they don't even disperse in the sky like usual. They turn to dull, unmoving rocks, and King Piccolo's ki has vanished. On the lookout, Mr. Popo weeps and weeps at the death of his closest friend. Kami is dead and King Piccolo is too. Nobody knows quite what's happened at first, but Goku ends up learning of what has happened from Korin. It's quite sad to hear, and Goku won't get that training from the Namekian since he's dead. None of them really knew who he was, and Mr. Popo knows that Kami wouldn't want to be revived anyway. With his purity and benevolence comes the darkness and malevolence of King Piccolo. Two sides of the same coin, two halves of the same man. Maybe the world will be calmer, more peaceful without him. Since Kami is gone, Mr. Popo wears his gi and takes on the mantle of God of Earth. Goku does his usual training and is able to grow from the physical pain exerted on himself during training and the Zenkai boosts that he gains from recovering. This accelerates his training and makes him progress more than he usually would, bringing his power level up to an astonishing 2000. By far the strongest on the planet, he prepares for the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai and takes it home with ease. Tien trained hard to try and come back and beat him. His power level has grown to 400, but it still isn't enough. The strongest martial artist is still Goku, and his position won't be threatened for a long time. For these next 5 years, Goku doesn't spend time experiencing much pain at all. No, he spends these years with his loving family, being there to watch his son Gohan grow. Whenever his son cries though, he can feel his small ki enlarge and intensify by a small amount. Once he calms, that growth remains. It seems like his son is similar to him. By the time of Dragon Ball Z, Gohan's power level is 80. Very impressive for a kid that hasn't really trained much, and it only continues to grow when he experiences any form of pain. Raditz arrives on Earth and immediately picks out the only strong ki signature on this planet. Coming from his brother, his power level is at around 350 when he is suppressed here. This makes him unbothered of what could happen to him. His brother is astoundingly weak. It will be easy to do what he needs to here. He interrogates him and explains to him the mission that he should have completed by now, to take down the humans and prepare the planet to be sold. Goku finds this shocking. He has never been told such a thing. Raditz goes in to snatch his son, and since Goku is so suppressed here, it works like a charm. Gohan screams with fear and can't release himself from his uncle's grasp. Goku looks distressed upon seeing this happen as well. He wasn't looking for his fight, but seeing his son in such a position, there is no option. Powering up, he lifts off and jumps straight toward him. Punching him in the chest, he cracks his armor and manages to make Raditz lose his grasp on his nephew. Gohan goes flying out into the waters, but Goku catches him before pulling him back to shore. Goku actually doesn't know how to fly here since he was never taught by Kami. Therefore, he has to enter the water and push through it to get back to land. Raditz is annoyed at that sucker punch from his brother and goes in to attack him. Elbowing him in the face, he goes in to kick him in the chest. However, Goku blocks both hits and feels the fuzzy feeling that he usually gets. The pain from each strike strengthens him. Raditz then rushes ahead and drives up with an uppercut, landing the hit cleanly. This throws his whole head back and Goku carries on taking hit after hit. His body is strong enough to not take grave damage from each attack, but there is still pain there. This is what makes him stronger. Why won't you go down? Raditz roars, double drop kicking him to the edge of the island. Goku lets him land the attack right on his solar plexus and feels the force spread throughout his entire torso. He made sure to make that as painful as possible, letting it hit one of the most vulnerable parts of his body. Now this hurts him quite a lot. Even if Raditz is weaker, he isn't that much weaker, and taking such attacks totally unprotected really isn't an easy thing. However, he rises back up and feels the pain empower him. His power level has grown to 2100. Not much, but for the number of attacks that he's received, that's quite a good deal. Goku rushes forward and flusters Raditz with his speed. Clobbering him with the first massive punch, he grabs one of his loose arms to swing him overhead and slam him down. I don't want to have to hurt you. Leave this place and I'll leave you alone, Goku shouts. Raditz manages to get back up, but those attacks hurt quite a bit more than the first punch he received. Not only that, but he can also see that his power level has risen slightly up to 2100. How has that happened? Raditz rushes back into attack, but Goku's had enough of his shenanigans. He slips to the left of his right fist, and in this same movement drives his fist into his gut. Raditz has basically run into his punch. That only adds to its force and shatters the armor on his torso. Tumbling down with plates of his armor crashing onto the ground, the surrounding waves of water rush under his hands, then the waters ebb away, leaving the damp ground beneath. This damp ground is soon covered by his own blood, and this now stains his gritted teeth. His younger brother has overpowered him somehow. How could a Saiyan, weakened and softened by these Earthlings, reach this point? Goku is close enough to his strength to the point where Raditz isn't very surprised. Maybe his brother just got better talent than him, but why? Why was he chosen and not him? Raditz doesn't see much use in fighting back if he will just get beat down again. You've been marked, Kakarot. Everyone on this planet has been marked. I'll come to this planet with fighters stronger than anyone you've ever seen. Trust me, if you don't let me complete your mission, they'll gladly cover it for us both, Raditz shouts before storming off. Goku is still taken aback by everything that has happened, seeing his son in such danger, his friends too. They heard what is to come and so they cannot rest. They must train, grow more powerful and prepare for the warriors that will come to Earth. Raditz never told them about a time frame as to when they'd be coming, so their training is even more intense than it was before. There isn't even a minute to waste. Goku trains his son and does so hard. This is only to keep him safe. These Saiyans could come at any day for all they know. Goku focuses on making himself feel as much pain as he can. It doesn't leave him in the best mental state, but he's willing to tap into this darkness and suffering if it means others get to survive. He hits himself with blasts, curved kamehamehas aimed straight onto his person. He does anything and everything to break himself down, then recover to become more powerful. This harsh training only leaves him with mental pain, and that makes him grow even further. It makes Goku a little more serious than we've known him to be though. To make it through the training that he's put himself through, he must be a little more serious and hardcore. Soon the time passes and the group are still training harder than ever. Luckily for them, they've all been replenished by senzu beans when the Saiyans arrive on Earth. Goku's power level has skyrocketed. This level of training isn't something that he's put himself through before, and his power level is now at 10,000. Gohan's is close behind at 8,000, and Tien's is at 3,400. Krillin's is at 3,000, and Yamcha's is at 2,800. Chiatsu lags behind them slightly with a power level of 2,000, but for him that's still very impressive. The Saiyans arrive on Earth and destroy East City upon arrival. Raditz remains behind them, making sure to use them as a sense of security. Nappa can see this and isn't afraid to mock him for his fear and weakness. He felt like he had gotten used to the ridicule, but now that his brother is known to be stronger than him, it just feels that much more embarrassing, humiliating. Even his earthling of a brother is stronger than him. How? The Sea Fighters arrive at the scene and face these Saiyans directly. They stare them down fearlessly and don't look to falter at all. Goku is at the forefront of this group, with Gohan close by his side. However, with all their power levels suppressed, it only adds to the confidence of the Saiyans ahead of them. "Hello there, Kakarot. You said that he was stronger than you. What is this?" Vegeta asks, looking back to Raditz. "He is, I swear. All these Earthlings can suppress their battle power then reveal it later in battle," Raditz states. The other two just burst out laughing once they hear this. "Suppress their battle power? That doesn't exist," Nappa replies, shoving him back. "Let the Saibamen deal with these people," he furthers, planting their seeds. The green menacing fighters reveal themselves and soar toward the group of warriors. However, the humans decide to take these fighters on. Yamcha goes for one and severs it in half with a hand chop. Tien blasts one to smithereens, then Chiaotzu wrestles one to the ground before crushing its head with a punch. Krillin then sees 3 more of these Chiaotzu straight for him and decides to finish things off with a little bit of flair. Growing his Destructo Disc, he hurls it right at the trio of Saibamen and bisects all 3 of them. The Destructo Disc stays strong though and soars straight toward the Saiyans. They look quite surprised at first and all 3 of them leap out the way to avoid it. Vegeta elegantly steps away while Raditz is forced to drop to the ground and drops his head as fast as he can. It then crashes into a mountain and eventually explodes, leaving a lot of rubble in its wake. So, these humans weren't as weak as they assumed them to be. Their key signatures were initially hidden and it just completely fooled the Saiyans. However, Nappa should be enough. "Take out all these humans, bring down Kakarot and his son," Vegeta orders. Nappa nods and steps forward, crouching down slightly. He makes his stance before blasting right off toward the crew. Individually, the humans can't hold a flame to Nappa, but together, maybe they can think of something. They have more confidence than expected here and don't rely on the security of Gohan or Goku's power. No, they remain ahead of them and take the fight on themselves. Krillin swings in a Destructo Disc and Nappa flips right over it before crashing down into the crew. He double drop kicks Yamcha and his large mass and strength sends him flying back. He doesn't look to be in great shape at all, but he stands and spits out blood before rushing back into the fight. Tien manages to swing in and land a kick to his side. This then continues with a digging strike to one of his knees, but Nappa isn't going to take that assault lightly. Lifting Tien straight off his feet, he hurls him into Krillin, toppling them both. "I am no Saibaman Earthlings. Is this really all you have?" Nappa shouts. The 3 continue on, and don't let the challenge put them down. All they have to do is rise to the occasion. As they passively attack and analyze, they soon identify Nappa's tendencies. Also, they start attacking him from various angles, fighting more 3-dimensionally and using awkward angles to catch him off guard. Tien charges straight at him, but Nappa tries to keep him away with a signature left hook to his face. However, Tien predicts, dips down, and shouts vehemently as he launches a full power tri-beam at this close range. He lands it cleanly and manages to send Nappa sliding back. Just as he slides back here, Yamcha begins using his spirit ball to disorient him. Nappa continues looking around with sharp eyes to try and track the glowing ball of energy, but not while taking several hits in the process. However, he just slams his teeth together and takes the blast's explosion right away. Following this, the smoke clears and 3 Destructo Discs are flying straight at him. All he can do is stand there and watch with a slightly open mouth. His body seems to move on instinct, but it's far too late. These discs fly straight through his body, leaving him in 4 sections. He's been taken out by these humans, and Raditz can't believe it. This means that he stands absolutely no chance here, and Vegeta knows that. Therefore, he knows the fight is with him. Aiming straight at one of the humans, he shoots a blast, but Goku arrives and takes the blast head on. Now, this hurts a lot. Vegeta is nearly twice as strong as him, so he doesn't find it easy to just take his attacks easily like that. However, after that one hit, his power level has risen. He can feel the power deposited into his body. Goku asks for Vegeta to fight elsewhere, and he agrees. Gohan follows, and the humans watch on from a distance. The two Saiyans stare each other down, and Goku doesn't look as confident and sure as usual. There's a hint of fear in his expression, his micro movements. However, there's nothing that he can do. A true hero feels fear but carries on, does what he knows he must. Vegeta begins the fight and flies straight down toward him. Goku tries his best to face him and keep him at bay, but he just can't. Vegeta is the far superior physically, and his great talent gives him impressive technique. Goku gets totally beat down, and Vegeta continues fighting with a smile on his face. He relishes Goku's pain and inferiority, fueling his massive ego. Goku is left on top of a gizzard rock, coughing out blood and weak. The others look devastated upon seeing their greatest protector in such a state. What do? It doesn't look like Vegeta will give them any sort of mercy. He just looks down at Goku with a maniacal smile on his face. Raditz, watching on from a distance, doesn't even know what to think. At first he was supporting Vegeta, but for what? Nappa is dead and he didn't show a sliver of grief or sadness, he simply didn't care. What if he was the one that got killed? He knows that Vegeta wouldn't care in the slightest. Is this the person that he should follow as a leader, put his trust and safety in? The person he's fighting is his biological brother after all. Shouldn't he be hoping that he wins? Raditz remains conflicted and continues watching on at a distance. The humans have their eyes on him as he watches, skeptical of what he will do, but Raditz doesn't seem to move at all. He won't do anything rash, they believe. Goku, Krillin shouts, hurling down a senzu bean at him. Goku's power level has already risen up to 15,000 from this assault. He just let Vegeta go ham on him, which has left him not with just physical pain but a lot of mental pain from forcing himself to endure such suffering. Crunching on the senzu bean, his wounds vanish and he feels his body getting flooded with new power. His power level has risen to 24,000, well above where it was previously. We only have one left, Goku, Krillin shouts down. Alright, that should be enough anyway, Goku replies. Powering up to one leg, he stands back up and Vegeta doesn't look concerned. Goku leaps up with newfound speed and Vegeta's smile vanishes in just this split second of his flight. He receives a powerful uppercut to his chin that literally lifts him off the gizzard rock that he was stood on. Goku then jumps off the rock that Vegeta was on to kick him down with. Goku can't fly yet and so controls his descent by just flapping his hands to land on a rock below. Vegeta crashes straight through some rock and eventually controls himself before he lands on the floor. However, this isn't the end of Goku. He carries on taking over the battle, fighting and beating down Vegeta just like how Vegeta clobbered him previously. Grabbing one of Vegeta's free arms, he spins around and hurls him through two rocks before jumping straight through with this falling rubble to drive his knees into his chest. Breaking his armor, he throws him to the ground and leaves him in a terrible state. He lands next to him, rolling before standing by his side. This will be your greatest mistake, Vegeta claims, holding his chest in pain. Throwing up his hands, a large white key ball flies into the sky and enlarges. This doesn't affect Goku since his tail has already been removed, but Gohan looks up to see what's going on. It has no effect on Goku of course, but then Gohan starts transforming along with Raditz and Vegeta. Now with this power, Raditz can beat those pesky humans. In this form, his outlook on things has changed. We know that Raditz doesn't have as much training with his tail compared to Nappa, since Goku was able to use it as a weak point, whereas Piccolo couldn't do the same with him in the canon timeline. Therefore, maybe that could also translate into the control the Saiyans have over their Uzari forms. Vegeta stares down at Goku and swats out to him head on. Just this movement of his arm sent him completely flying. Not only that, the swing didn't feel very nice at all. Vegeta continues showing off this new power that he has and just rubbing it into Goku that he has no chance. Grabbing his body, he squeezes as hard as he can, even breaking the bones in his body as he does so. Following that, he swings him down into rocks that surround him as if he's some toy that he's playing with. Goku continues screaming in agony, struggling to even take this much damage. Now he can't even let himself just endure this sort of pain. He's trying as hard as he can to free himself, but the difference in power is just far too great. Without Kaioken as well, it's extremely tough for him to do anything to Vegeta at this point. From this powerful assault, he's nearing death, but this means that his power is skyrocketing yet again. As Vegeta hurls him down, his power level lifts to 42,000. Goku can't even feel this increase in power solely from the level of pain that he feels in his body. That is almost like the only feeling that he gets from this. Leaping at the humans, they all disperse upon seeing Raditz's towering frame. Krillin can see that Goku is struggling against Vegeta, but this Saiyan doesn't seem to be giving him any space to help him. The humans just must jump around him as fast as they can, but even that is hard. This Raditz, even with a much larger body, has a power level of 15,000. That is well above anything that they could output. How do we find a way out of this? Yamcha shouts before he is caught in Raditz's left hand. Oh no, Raditz has caught him. Viciously squeezing as hard as he can, the damage caused to Yamcha is greater than even that to Goku. His bones and body shrink as the space between Raditz's hands decreases. It's almost like his squeezing is like a hydraulic press. This leaves him in a terrible state and his screams soon stop. All he can do is cough blood and one of his ribs stabs straight through his heart. His movements suddenly cease and his head dips as his eyes look on into nothing. He is dead. Raditz then looks to Tien and manages to grab him. It isn't long before he is gone as well. Krillin has both hands on his head, unable to think of what to do here. Suddenly, he can hear loud stomps coming from behind him and then sees Gohan heading his way. He can use this. Just as Raditz arrives at the rock he stood on, he leaps up into the air as hard as he can and reaches the clouds. During this time that he's airborne, Gohan switches his attention to Raditz, and since he is more than 5 times stronger than him, it isn't going to be an easy fight for him at all. As Krillin descends, he aims himself toward Goku and drops down the last senzu bean that they have. Goku's vision has gone blurry, but through the light he can see this small green object flying down to him. It takes a few seconds for him to realize what this could be, and once it's close enough he knows just what it is, a senzu bean. Grabbing it before it can hit the ground, he weakly eats it and feels his body return to its tip-top shape. His power level has increased to 100,000 from this one senzu bean. However, it's their last one. Goku tries to fight Vegeta again and finds that there is still little that he can do to win. What he does have now is speed, but without the strength to hurt Vegeta's large durable body, there isn't much that he can do. The last option is to take as much pain as possible yet again, to let Vegeta beat him down so much that even with his injured body it will be strong enough to defeat him. As he thinks of what to do as well, he sees Tien and Yamcha's bodies. They're dead, gone. Raditz, his own brother, killed some of his closest friends. During the training period before these Saiyans showed up, they all got close to one another. They were training with each other almost every single day to try and find a way to get stronger. That drew them all together more than ever. Now, to see them dead and gone at the hands of these evil Saiyans, it leaves him angry, but also saddened. This feeling. It's pain, but it's also power. His power level grows as he thinks more of their deaths, and he leans into this darkness. He knows that throwing himself into this black abyss is the only way to reach light, peace, victory. Leaping at Vegeta, he lets him grab him and the beatdown continues. Goku can do nothing but take it. If he tries to resist, there will be nothing that he could do anyway. He simply leans into all the pain and suffering and ends up crying from the dark thoughts that he lets fly through his mind. As Vegeta beats him down as well, both of these strategies only make him stronger. By the end of this, Goku's power level soon reaches past Vegeta's even in this large Uzaru form of his. At the end of this, Goku's power level reaches 240,000, and since his base is stronger, Vegeta's attacks start hurting much less. After thinking about all of those dark thoughts, his mind is as sharp and focused as ever. He isn't doing the best, but he's more than strong enough to fight. As he grew stronger as well, the injuries start to hurt less and less. After thinking about all those dark thoughts, his mind is as sharp and focused as ever. He needs to defeat these Saiyans. Leaping straight up to Vegeta, he lands the first attack he's done in a while and breaks his armor in the process. Then he lets everything loose. The pent-up anger, rage, grief. He pours it all into his next assault and Vegeta can do nothing to resist it. Goku grabs his tail and begins swinging the massive Uzaru around as if he's a pendulum tied to a rope. Vegeta is soon left on the floor, left to just stare up to the sky. Raditz has been defeated as well, and Krillin has managed to get Gohan to focus on the enemy from his human side. Now that the enemy has been defeated, there isn't much for him to do. Looking up, Goku starts to think about what he's going to do about that fake moon in the sky. He can see that his son, Gohan, is in his Uzaru form but is at least calm now. What he's worried about is how he's going to return to his human form. He simply uses a Kamehameha wave and the energy wave soundly destroys it. Leave this planet and never return. If you come back, the same will happen. Take Raditz and get out of here right now, Goku commands, leaping up to an adjacent rock before leaving. Vegeta has taken that order and knows he is too weak to do anything. He even struggles to get up onto his front. Vegeta then flies off, leaving Raditz where he is. He sees absolutely no use for him. Why would he care about taking him away with him? Goku sees this and only feels the hate inside him growing. A tear flows down his cheek and he still has his fists clenched. It's almost like he's still ready to battle. Goku, the fight is over, Krillin says, aware of the physical tension in his body. As Krillin lightly touches his back to try and calm him, it's like Goku's been shocked or something. He's still so on edge from everything that's happened. The thoughts that he let empower him have also left him in a darker, more sinister state. He can't even smile. However, he soon comes around and can crack a light smile knowing that the main threat is gone and that even if he returns, he'll be strong enough to protect the planet that he calls home. So that will conclude the opening part to what if Goku got stronger from pain. Please tell me something you liked about this video or something that I should improve on for the next one. Thanks so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video.